What's going on, YouTube family? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing. Still got the hoodie on, man. It's been super cold lately, but good time to be breaking down lakes. We've actually been on Lake Brownwood. We're going to stay on that one tonight. We're on our second Google Earth breakdown video for this lake. There was all kinds of cool looking stuff, rock piles, foundations, all kinds of good stuff out here on Brownwood for us to check out. So let's go ahead and jump into it, see what we can find. Here we go. All right, so the last time we were out on Lake Brownwood, we actually started down by the dam, and then we worked our way up this east side, kind of north, and then we started to come back down the west side. We pretty much ran out of time. Now, I do want to point out a couple of things here, and also, I guess if you missed that video, go out to our Lake Breakdowns playlist. You can see that video out there along with several other lakes that we broke down with the same type of method. So did want to point out on this one, as we were going through that breakdown last time, we had found those little rock walls or pins or whatever they were, foundations, can't really tell what they are, but we had found a couple of those down here in this corner, and I didn't have this one marked, so I went ahead and marked this, and I didn't have these two marked either, so I marked both of those. So if you had purchased a card for Brownwood before this video posted, please note that I did not have those there, so both of those are not going to be marked, but if you're looking in that area, you're probably going to stumble across it. Now, also another area that I did not have marked that I just marked before I started this video is right in here. There's another one of those rock fence lines or whatever they are right in there. And there's also some brush really close by that one. So if you were fishing around there, I think you'll have some pretty good potential to fish there. Now, for whatever reason, I told you I was having some problems with the years on Google Earth cooperating with me. Well, this time I came in tonight, and I don't know if it's just because of where I'm at in the lake, but my timeline takes me back to 2013 and actually gave me a better image than even what I had before when I broke it down. So we might find some new stuff as we go through this breakdown tonight. We'll see. So let's go ahead and start right here. We already talked about this creek channel that was up here, but let's start right here where I was talking about, where there is a little rock line there. Now, if I go and actually go to the properties of this, I don't know if it's going to let me, but if I go to the properties of this, you can actually see it. Let me see if I can move it out of the way. Now you can see it really well. So you got a pretty good brush pile there, and then you've got that little rock line that just goes right on that track that's right there. So you'll be able to see it when you're out there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this stuff out because it's going to drive me crazy if I don't. That's just the kind of person I am. So let's keep moving on down. So I didn't see too much on this bank line, but again, this is lower than what I actually saw last time. You got some debris and junk like that, but I'm not going to mark that kind of stuff. But you do have some pretty good rock that's up here, and I think it's going to be really hard to tell that that's good rock from this image, but I think I'm just going to say trust me on this, so I don't want to change the image too much. Let's go ahead and we'll change it once and see what happens. But you'll see as I pull the water up, these are like individual isolated rocks. You've got one right there, you've got one here as well, you got another one right in here, a real big rock here. So if the lake comes up a little bit more, that rock's going to be completely submerged. Let's get it under, see if we can ever get it underwater. And if not, it's still creating, there we go. That light must be up pretty good there. And now it's completely under the water. So a lot of good stuff here. You've got rocks back here as well. If I go back to, let's say 2017, that gives us a pretty good image when the water was down pretty low. And you've got these isolated rocks again. So I went ahead and marked those for you guys to take a look at. Now, we've talked about the boat ramp pattern a ton, but if this is your first video with me on a breakdown, I can't even talk today, so hopefully this isn't your first video with me, but if it is, fish the boat ramps, man. Fish this boat ramp pattern. Try it. Just try it sometime, especially in the fall and the summer. Try just fishing boat ramps one day. Just pick out all the boat ramps and say, okay, I'm going to go fish them, and fish around the ends of them, right where the washout is, and fish on the sides of them, fish on top of them. Wobble heads are really good if you want to throw a wobble head up there, or what they call a swing jig. Just throw it up there and then just kind of work it down the ramp slowly or across it, more of a 45-degree angle. You can have a lot of success on boat ramps with shaky heads, wobble heads, stuff like that. So definitely don't overlook that pattern. Now, as we're moving down in here, we've also got some additional just outlaying kind of rock formations that are just different from everything else. You've got one right there. You've also got a couple right here that are making like little points. You can see here. And again, this probably isn't the best image to be looking at. Let's see if I can get you a better one. I don't know if I'm going to or not. I got to be really careful changing these dates while I'm talking to you guys, because I'm telling you, just out of the blue, it will just change it and it'll take it to an image that I won't want. So I got to be really careful here. So I'm going to stay on 2013 for the most part, but right there is about as far back as I can go before things start getting crazy. So we got some isolated rock here. You can see here, this is a really bright image, but if you look right there, that's a really big boulder. And if I change the date, you'd be able to see that boulder a lot better. You got another one of those boulders that's right there as well. And moving down, didn't see too much down in here. There are some ramps though. So you've got 3 little isolated ramps over here, pretty close to a pretty decent flat. There could be a little creek coming through here somewhere if it ever rains in this area. So you could definitely check that out. Now I liked this spot back here. This looks really good. One, you got a little creek bed that comes through here, so that's cool. And you've got some pretty interesting stuff back here where it looks like they dug it out for maybe some dock owners or something like that. But it looks like you got some pretty good cover and things like that. Hydrilla maybe back there, or maybe just stuff to flip around. Can't really tell what's going to be back in there when the water's down like that. But the main thing here that I liked was right there, and you can see it. Hopefully it sticks out to you. Just super, super bright. But you've got a little ledge right here, and there's not a lot of ledges on this lake, but this is a perfect little ledge for them to set up on. Nice little point for them to set up on. They could come back in here and spawn and have a heyday when the water's warm, and then when it gets too warm, they can pull back up here and get on these points and really set up for the rest of the summertime. So I would definitely be checking in here. This is a nice hard area that creates a really good ledge, and then you've really got kind of just some rocky junk right in here, but definitely look right in here. I mean, you're starting to get kind of rocky, a little chunky right in here, where this all just looks like really dry land. You've also got a little bit more of that same thing right here. You can see the shadow from this ledge that's right here. These rocks have created just a perfect ledge on the side of this point, and with that shadow being there, that makes it a lot better of a point to take a look at. So to move down in here again, I don't even know if you guys want me to waste the time. I'll go through them quick because I know it's going to bore you, but there are all these different kinds of rock formations. And with the water way down low, it looks like I've gone crazy marking these, but let me see if I can move it back up, because show you more of a realistic image of the water level. But when the water gets back up to normal, this is going to look totally different. Now 17 is when the water was pretty low, so we got to stay away from 17. But let's go to 2019. So in 2019, you can see these things are all just underwater, but these are big, big rocks. You can see when I pulled that back to even 2017, these are giant rocks. And so if these rocks can ever get underwater, which it looks like they do get underwater, 2017, the water was pretty low here. Those rocks are just barely submerged, and that just makes them prime targets to be able to fish around. You've also got a little isolated boat ramp back there. Those are always good too. You've got a really big rock that comes off here, some more rock formations back in here. And these are shallow little areas, but they set up like walls or lines or shade lines or breaks. So anything, if a rock can do that, that makes that rock like the primo location. It's like pulling into your neighborhood, and that one guy's got the mansion on the hill with all the bright lights, and then you have all the other houses that are all around them, and everybody wants to go be that house on the mansion and live in that house on the mansion. Well, it's the same way for the bass. They're going to be attracted to the most special spot in that area, and that's going to be those big points that come out. They can feed there, they can live there, they can stay protected there. It's just all kinds of good stuff about those rocks coming off and making those spots in the water. All right, so I'm going to keep going on. Got the rock there as well. And again, it's just scattered throughout. You got a little one right here, or a pretty big one right here. You've also got some more rock right around in this area. And then you've got some rock that's hidden behind that dock back there too. So you could always take a look at that. As we move further down, some more big boulder type rocks down here behind these docks. So I could see all these docks being pretty good. They almost look as if a creek comes in here, and maybe that's the weak side over here, and this is more the strong side. This looks like you have a little bit of a deeper break here. Without being able to see the contour, I wouldn't really know, but just looking at the map itself, it looks like maybe you have a little bit of a creek channel swing here. And if you do, that's going to make these docks really important docks to be fishing. So take a look at those docks and see if I'm right. They do have some really good cover around them. So I think either way, you're going to be in good shape as far as having a good percent of a chance to catch a fish there. Got some isolated rock back here too. If you notice, this bank line's pretty bare, but it's really chunky rock right in here, right around where that little creek bed comes out. So in here it could be good, especially certain times of the year. May seem shallow to you, but I'm telling you, you can't get too shallow. All right, so we're going to move around this point, and as we're moving around the point, we're going to see these boulders that I was telling you about, just those little outcroppings of big rocks. You got one there, you got one here, got another one right in that area. As we move up, things are starting to change a little bit. I do like, if you look really closely, and I didn't mark it for you guys, but getting into some pretty good flooded timber right in here. So maybe come down here and just work along the outside edge of that flooded timber. You might have some success there, and that's a spot that most people probably aren't going to pay attention to. Got some more stick out rocks right in here, some more in here. We're going to see these all along as we move down this lake. You can see that we've got, I think, 2 or 3 more just right in this area, but real big one right here. Nice little point that comes out right here, like the crop out is right here. But if you also look, you got some standing timber around it, so that's good. You kind of got both of the big rocks and the standing timber. And then I really like this spot right in here, because I imagine when the water's up, let's see if we can even take it up. When the water's up, you don't really notice that that's there, that there's actually a little point there and there's a little pinch point right in between it. But if you pull that water back, it's real obvious that that's there. We're looking here in 2017. That was when the water was down. But if we go to 2013, I think it's going to look the same for us. Just a little bit further back, but you can tell real good areas to fish around. Nice little underwater points, maybe even a little bit of a ledge going on right there. So just real good stuff. I would definitely go in there and take a look at that. As we move further up, Texas Park and Wildlife did put a brush pile in here, or a fish attractor. So you can stop there at J and see if anything's going on. And then as you move further out here, you've got some really good rock going on off this point. So there's got to be a transition area somewhere. I didn't notice that bigger rock. It starts getting bigger just really right as you get around that point is when you start into that bigger rock. So right in there, would definitely look at that. Oh, for sure, looking at this little point that comes out, definitely, especially being around that little fishing pier. The only problem that I see here is that it's possibly a no fishing zone. Those can be buoys saying you can't fish here. I don't know if they are, bummer. But if they aren't, it's pretty cool. You can still come over here and fish. So you can also fish this little point right in here. I don't see, that one doesn't really just stick out to me and say, hey, go there. But it's probably something maybe I'd just check if I was in the area. I do like this point right here. Sets up pretty good. And then again, if you notice, you're getting into some flooded timber back in here as well. So they could come back in here and just set up in those trees and hang out. And most people aren't even going to realize there's even trees there. So let's keep on moving down. On the Goat Island, I don't think we covered that the first time, but the Goat Island does have a fish attractor site right on the back of it, so you could take a look at that. And then now we get into where the state park ramps are. You got a lot of ramps here at the state park. You got 3 different ones here. And then right by the ramp, if you get out here off this point, this could have some potential, especially if you're thinking, tournaments and stuff maybe coming out of here, just people releasing fish. In general, just dumping a lot of fish in this area. That's going to be a good area to fish around. Also, if you can cut back in here and get right where this little pinch area is and fishing right around on that side where those rocks are, that's going to be a pretty good area for you as well. Another little crop out here of a little rock area. Moving on down, we've got a Texas Park and Wildlife brush pile or fish attractor that's there. This all kind of looks like the same. So really what I pointed out on this bank line was just anything that was a little bit different. So you've got those little spots that jump out. You got one there, you've got one there, and you've got some more right here. And then also what I liked about this is this kind of a transition area too. Notice you've got the rock, and then all of a sudden that last rock is kind of the last one. And then you don't see rock for a while. So you got a little transition area going on here. You could scan in this area and see if that continues further out. If it does, you've got a pretty good line to fish around. And then really just honing in just on the outside edge of that would be a good idea. All right, so let's move this back and let's keep going. So we're coming around the edge here. Let me show you guys where I'm at. And let's see what our time is. We're looking still pretty good. I think we still go another 10 minutes or so. So let's keep going down here and let's see what else we can find. So you saw where I was at. I came down around the state park. Now I'm down here. Almost straight across from the dam, a little northwest from the dam. So looking up here, we've got some rock that comes out here off of this point. I like these points that come out that are close to the main lake like that. For whatever reason, if they got rock on them and they're kind of skinny little points, they always seem to do well. They just do. So definitely fish right in there. You've got a boat ramp back here too. You can check out another Texas Park and Wildlife fish attractor in that area. And then we get further down in here and we're looking at more of those just oddball rocks, right? We got an oddball rock that was up there. Zoom back up there for you guys and show that to you. And then we've got some more that are down here too, if I can get to them. Just a couple more right here. So there's one right there. A little old boat ramp here. Not sure if that one's even still being used, but you could have some concrete and some washout and stuff like that in this area, and being in the back of a pocket like that, that gives it some pretty good potential too to be able to, to hopefully catch some fish there. So let's keep winding back around. There's not as much on this side. It's like the main side was more of what we were talking about, but it's going to get better, I promise. So let's keep going. There's a little bit of rock back in here. So if you come back in here, I mean, you've got some rock along the bank line, but it's all the same. So the only thing that I really liked here was the fact that it almost ends right here. So again, it's another little transition area. You've almost got a little point under there that you can see. So you've got the rock here. So I would fish right around in here, right where the rock ends and kind of the dirt begins, right there off that point. You also have a fish attractor site that's back in there as well. So you could check that out. And then moving on down, we're going to get into a lot of, those different things where it's just rocks or ramps. But right here is another one of those spots. And we saw this earlier. It was one of those spots we talked about in the beginning that I had missed the first time when the water was down a little bit lower. When I got it down a little bit lower, I didn't realize that was there. But this is another one, just a real good isolated rock pile that's out there. So check that one out. You've got ramps here, 1, 2, 3 different ramps you could fish. There's some pretty good rock around these boats, boat docks. A lot of it's just chunky and scattered. So you're just looking at those scattered spots where it's at. This one's a real good rock there. This one in here, if you fished in here, this would be really good, especially if the water was up. Just look at the shade lines that one has. I really like that. Got some pretty decent rock on the backside of this one as well. And then again, it's kind of scattered throughout that whole bank line. So I'm just looking at the big ones that come out, like this one. I'd probably fish around these as well. Just looking for anything that's a little bit different. And then as we move up here and we get around this little pocket, didn't see too much up there. There is a little bit of a little rock crop out that's right here. So this could be another one of those little old rock fences or whatever that was that we've been seeing, foundations, whatever they are. That could be one right there. It's something's different about those rocks than everything else around it. So just check it out and see if there's anything there. Moving down, we're getting into some of those bigger rocks again, some real big, chunky rocks right in here. And then just a nice little point here. I just like how this point sets up. It goes back, has a nice little creek coming through here. And this point just sets up really well for them to set up on, and it's got some pretty good rock on. So I would definitely make that a stop to check out. Moving on down, again, kind of a rough looking bank line, right? You got this big, chunky, nasty rock, but I was just looking for things that either could create some kind of shade or would be a great place to hide behind. Like if I was a fish, where would I want to live? Well, I definitely want to live there. It's got a really good backside to it. I can hide in. I can also hide off the front side. This one here is gigantic. I may even hide right here on this dock. This looks good too. But then, just kind of lose things. You don't find anything for a while, and then you get back into this giant rock again. So I like that place too. I really like this, how it comes out, and these rocks are all alone. So I really like that spot too. And then, of course, this point being a more of a main lake point, or I guess main channel point coming through here, I really like that one as well. That one looks good. It's got some really good rock on it too. So let's keep going back in here and let's talk about a few more things. And then we're going to wrap up this video and we'll come back and we'll talk to you guys about Lake Brownwood. We'll keep doing these breakdowns until we get back down to around the dam. But right here, good little kind of point that comes out. You can almost call this a secondary point. I mean, almost far enough out there to really be a point. So you could check that one out. I like that a lot. There's some rock back here that looks like might go into like an old ditch or something. So in there, I like how you see a ditch that's in that area. And then moving back, I think we had a boat ramp back there, and that was about it. We got a ramp back here. It gets real shallow. Not too much for me to show you guys here. There wasn't like a good creek channel or anything like that. All that was pretty much washed out. You could potentially say that might be a boat ramp. I can't tell if that's a boat ramp or a foundation, but I probably wouldn't waste too much time back in there. You got another boat ramp here. You got pretty interesting little rock formation that comes out here between these two docks, so maybe check that out. Also, another ramp that's going on there. And then you got this big heavy rock, right? It's all throughout right here. You can see it. They're going to be attracted to that stuff, a lot more attracted to that than like maybe this kind of stuff. So definitely, when you see those huge rocks, pull in and just check them out, see what you can find there. Another fish attractor site here, and then some more rock right over here. And again, you're like, dude, there's rock everywhere, but look, this rock's a lot different. So definitely fish around it. Let's go ahead and stop there. We'll stop here on this point. Next time we come back, we'll start up here at the Sandy Beach RV Park. We'll go up, finish that side, and then we'll come back down. Maybe even be able to get the dam on the next video. We'll see. But anyways, guys, I hope this is helping you out. Please go out, check out our site, simplisticfishing.com. We've got all these waypoints pretty much ready for you guys to put on an SD card if you want to put them on yourself, or you can order the SD cards from me and I can ship them out to you. You basically just put the SD card in the graph, you import it in, and you'll have all these waypoints plus all the offshore stuff that we haven't even had a chance to talk about. I'm telling you guys, it'll change the way you fish, and it just really simplifies your time on the water. It allows you to really focus on the areas that you need to be looking at. So until next time, guys, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.